How's it going, everybody? Ooh. We're gonna get started in a couple minutes. We'll start right at 6:30 um, once we get the webinar started.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the first Parks and Environment Committee meeting in 2026. I see a lot of new faces in the crowd. So my name is Diana Aguilar, and I'm the chair of the committee. And this year we have some really exciting news. Esteban Chavez has joined us as our committee's co-chair. So I'll let him introduce himself.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Esteban Chavez. I am the vice chair of the Parks and Environment Committee, but excited to be here. I work for a Parks Conservancy in my professional employment, so I think this is a great chance to utilize that experience in CB7.
So just to get us going, first up on the agenda, we have, oh, roll. Always forget.
Board members who are here in person, you'll hear me call your name and then just need you to state you're here present. For those who are attending online, I'm just going to prompt you to unmute yourself, state that you're here, and then mute yourself again. I'm sorry, Diana Aguilar. Esteban Chavez. Sylvia Agosto. Carrie Conti. Maria Cruz. Danny DeBear.
Here.
Please unmute yourself. Thank you, but you do not count towards quorum. Diana Gonzalez. Nicole Wong. Jeremy Kaplan. Erin Keith. Paul Mack. Rosie Mota. And Sam Sierra. Roll's been called. You're welcome.
Get us started. First up on the agenda, we have an update from NYC Parks on the John Allen Payne Playground renovation project. So you guys can come up here and yeah, I'll give you guys the mic.
So,
Do you want to sit or stand?
sitting? No, I don't want to. I've not earned that privilege to sit next. Hello, everybody. Hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is Jim Morris. I'm the chief of staff for Brooklyn Parks, specifically for Brooklyn Borough. Brooklyn Borough Commissioner Martin Marr, who's scheduled to be here today. He's sick, unfortunately, so he's not going to be here today. But I'm just as knowledgeable about these projects. So I just want to quickly go through your community board status for the projects that you have. You may have seen me here before at meetings to propose different designs for projects, and I just want to give you a quick update on those projects and then end with an update we have on John Allen Payne Playground. We have some exciting news about that playground. So on the call, we have some folks from State DOT that has to do with the John Allen Payne update I'm going to give you, as well as AECom, who is subcontracted under this that contract, and a fellow from our interagency unit, Brendan Shera. That'll all make sense in just a second. But I have a cool laser pointer that I'm going to use to identify certain parts of this presentation. So I also have Shaquem Snipe here. He's our Director of Capital Projects. You will probably see him in various meetings going forward. But yeah, so I won't take too much of your time here. Quick, why don't you go to the next slide? There, Shaquem. So the first one is obviously Sunset Park Rec Center. So this project has been under construction for a little while, since fall 2023. It has to do with enclosing the actual atrium itself, and the entrance spot, kind of like the rotunda when you go in. Address some HVAC issues throughout the center that have required the closure of that center. The actual space inside the pool has not been closed at all through the pool season since it started construction, and it will not this season. In fact, we got around that by utilizing a entrance on the side of the pool to let people into the pool so we could still stay cool during the summer. The plan for this upcoming summer, is it won't be closed at all, the pool, but instead of having to enter in through the side, the middle area should be open for that operation. The only thing we still have is a lot of pretty complex Department of Building inspections that are happening right now. We've completed a lot of the HVAC work, but those DOB things are tricky because it's out of our hands. This is a very complex project when it comes to HVAC stuff and more specifically heating, cooling, programming the space. All these things are in process. We're hopeful that it will be done this fall / end of the year, but the pool season won't be affected. It's just the center, probably the actual usable space in the center, the exercise areas, the basketball court, stuff like that will be still closed this season, unfortunately. So we're working quickly to get this back open, but that's the reports from our rec division and our building construction unit that's actually working on the center itself. So if there's any questions on any of these things, you could reach out to me or Borough Commissioner Martin Marr about anything you have about the Sunset Park Rec Center. Why don't you go to the next slide? So these are what we call landscape architecture projects. These are a little bit more straightforward. The first one is one that's in active construction right now. It's in Windsor Terrace, but still CB7, Greenwood Playground. So if you look, we were able to retrofit this. The asphalt area, this is a very cool green. Usually you see red at laser pointers, but I have a green one. So this is called an MPPA. It's a multi-purpose play area. That's just an unprogrammed space, but we were able to fit in a couple of new programmatic elements in that spot, namely pickleball. It's a very pickleball friendly area. A lot of people love it. So we were able to fit in 2 courts here. And that's currently under construction right now, where it's going to probably complete this spring. And then this area is actually already open. We redid the handball court. There's a lot of active handball players up there. So that area is already opened, but this area is going to complete this spring, we're hoping. It's finishing up. Let's go to the next slide. This one is closer to this location. These are some projects up and down 3rd Avenue. So the first one is Demick Playground. Demick is a unique one because, actually, no, I'm going to talk about Gonzales, Placencia, and some others. But Demick, this is what we call a jointly operated playground. It's next to a high school, Sunset Park High School. This one we're hoping to have this one start construction this fall. It's a year construction. It's basically the whole space is going to be changed up. Still going to use the same, basketball over here. Right now, this is all asphalt kind of courts right now. We're going to include a synthetic turf area, new play equipment, all state of the art. So we're very excited about these ones up and down 3rd Avenue. These are part of what we call the Community Parks Initiative. That's mayoral funding that came down to completely redo a site. So you can see for this one, $7.6 million. So very excited about that one. We've been working with the high school next door to let them know when it's happening. And we're very, very excited for this one. So this is the one that's going to be going under construction in the fall. Go to the next one, Shaquem. Penn Herrera Playground. This is the one I was referring to. So this is a unique spot. This is next to PS1. It's an elementary school. So this one, some of these projects have hit delays, I'll be honest with you. A lot of it has to do with DEP, but it's what this word here is called SWIP. Has to do with stormwater retention. DEP is, as we are, very strict about getting the right technical elements so that we could capture stormwater to avoid, especially in this area, obviously there's flooding, things like that. It's very, very important to parks, but just as important to DEP, who actually gives us the permit. This project started, and again, as a quick reminder, each project is started as part of a 3-year process, a year in design, a year in what we call procurement. That's when we find an actual contractor to build the project itself, and then a year of construction. So that's a bittersweet part. The year of construction is when the site actually closes entirely for a year, and you get a brand new site afterwards. This one is unique because if you see, Penn Herrera right now does have a what we call a public restroom building in the inside. It's old. It's seen better days. It's probably in the 60, 70-year-old mark. It's quite old. However, we are taking the opportunity to try to do something new instead of retrofitting bathrooms, which sometimes we've done in the past. That because we need to update the ADA access of each building, what it does is the way if we don't, if we try to retrofit it, it turns a bathroom that has maybe a stall or 2 stalls or 3 stalls. And because of the way that we retrofit it, it turns it into only having 1 stall. So we're finding that it's more successful to actually demolish the building and start over, build an entirely new building from scratch. So that's what the 2 projects that are going to be having this happen first are Penn Herrera Playground and another one called St. Andrew's Playground, which is in Bed-Stuy. So we're very excited about this process because it means 2 things. Usually when we would retrofit a bathroom, it would have to happen after the landscape project, which is the playground, because we would have to get a different contractor. So in this instance, there was 2 delays that happened. The first one was because of that DEP SWIP thing that unfortunately put some design delays in because DEP needed a review. They have a very strict review, not only because of this area, stormwater is extremely important in Community Board 7 and throughout Brooklyn, but areas that are affected by flooding are very strictly enforced here. So that did put some design delays because we had to go back and forth with them a little bit. Now, with we had to modify the contract to include a new building. So that makes the project a little bit more robust, and we have to find a contract that will not only build a new playground, but will also build a new building. What that does, it puts some slight delays in it, and we're looking at a start of next spring for this. But what it does, it's very exciting, is when instead of some projects we've had in the past where the only way we were able to do that is reopen or close the playground, reconstruct it, reopen it, then close part of the playground again around the bathroom so a contractor can come in, reconstruct it, and leave. And then you would be left with a playground for like a year or so without a bathroom. This time, instead, what we're going to do is close it all once for a year, redo the bathroom, do everything else. And then when you reopen it, you have a brand new bathroom, brand new playground, brand new everything. So we're very excited about this process. We think it makes a lot more sense. It's just what it incurs is a little bit of a delay so we can retrofit the project itself. If you guys have any questions on this at the end of the presentation, I'll happily answer any questions. But yeah, I just want to again clarify. I know it's a lot of information. Parks Department has no budget of our own, no capital budget. We rely upon purely on elected official funding for this, for these kind of projects. So we really want to thank Councilmember Aviles. She's come in a lot with these projects up and down 3rd Avenue, as well as CPI is a majority of mayoral funding, but for this one is a little bit unique. This money came from Councilmember Aviles. So we're very, very appreciative for that funding, because again, none of this work would be happening without an elected official, especially with that Councilmember Aviles. So go to the next one. Gonzalez Placencia, also on 3rd Avenue. This one is a unique one because right now there's a large grass field right here, obviously. You guys have seen that's next to Charles O. Dewey School and Sunset Park Prep, a couple of schools in there. We've worked with them heavily to get the right specs for this and everything like that. So this is a full reconstruction of not only the field, but the playground, court, there's an adult fitness area, handball, and there's a lot of elements going on here, but we have so few of these permittable fields. A big thing that happens with grass fields is that they are not usable most of the year because of rain. I mean, we just had a brutal winter. You guys saw that most grass fields in the area over the past couple of months have been basically unusable because of snow, mud, all that different stuff. This stuff, say for instance, if snow, but if it rains, this will be usable quickly after because it won't flood. That's a big part, and this is synthetic turf. You guys have seen me before. You go through all these projects. I was here last year to talk about this one, but I just want to remind you about this one. So this one will also be starting in spring 2027. This one's on route to start next spring. And again, this whole site will be closed for a full year to reconstruct this project. It's very, very exciting. And the schools are excited. There's going to be permit holders that are very excited because they get to use this site a little bit more than usual. Let's go to the next one, Tricky. So we just had a what's called a scope meeting for this not too long ago. Yes, this one is pretty bad. It has a very holy name, but we are going to honor it with a brand new playground. This one is a very tired site. It's on 2nd Avenue, just across the reason actually it's called Martin Luther. This was used to be Lutheran Hospital here. And so yeah, so this is what we call partial reconstruction. We have $4.1 million from a council member and council speaker to reconstruct. And it's going to be the playground specifically. We have funding for that. Hopefully we're going to get funding for the courts on this side. There's basketball courts. There's handball court right back here. That one just started a design this past December. We had a meeting for it on December 3rd. So basically you'll have a new playground 3 years, hypothetically, from December 3rd, fall 2025. So about fall 2028-ish. When we'll have a new playground there. So it's very exciting. That one just started design though, so we don't have a design, but soon you will probably see Shaquem, who will be bringing a presentation to you guys, just like you have seen in the past, that has different design elements and stuff like that. So just give me 1 second here. Let me grab this. Okay. And I want you to go to the next slide. Cool. Okay, so this is part of what we are bringing here today. So I'll be brief. This is more of an update, but I want to just let you guys know what's going to be happening in John Allen Payne Playground. It's on 3rd Avenue between 64th and 65th. It's built right underneath the Owl's Head Aqueduct, and that's why this project is happening in general. So State DOT needs to do restoration improvement work on the Owl's Head Viaduct. It's part of a very large rehabilitation project. We in Parks, as we said, we do not have our own capital budget, so we have to rely upon external factors. Free money is our favorite kind of money, and this is that kind of instance where because they need to do work that will affect the playground for a number of years, they are going to be giving back to the community, so to speak, in the form of $2.8 million to reconstruct the remaining part of the playground. So if you see on this side, this is a newer playground. We finished it in 2018. Obviously, it's 2026 now. It's seen some days, but that's newer in the terms of New York City history, I suppose. So this is a newer part, but this area has seen better days. It's quite old. It's the asphalt's all cracked. Actually, up here right now is like a unused, practically horseshoe area. If you remember horseshoes. So we're really excited to get new elements out of it. I'll explain a little bit of why this is happening. The overall project, it will rehabilitate, this is the state DOT project that I'm talking about. It's going to rehabilitate the existing Owl's Head Viaduct to extend its useful life cycle. But that means when they have to work, and again, if you can envision this, literally there's a roadway cutting this right over, just like this, to get back onto the belt and go north. So this was built underneath the aqueduct, which is called. They need to do extensive work on that. And that require closure of the playground for no more than 2 years. But the work itself, which is scheduled to start, the DOT work, is going to start probably next year and take a total of about 4 to 5 years of work. So that's how extensive this work that they need to do. What it's going to require is a closure of the playground area. But what we're getting out of it is going to be really incredible. And I'll go kind of in depth what it means. Yeah, that's the basics. So basically we're going to be getting, and a lot of this feedback has come from people really wanting these elements in the park. From input we did when we did the actual playground. I'll show you a slide that's a little bit more in depth because obviously you can't really see that once you go to the next slide. This is what it's going to look like. And I'll run through all the elements that we're talking about here. So I'll start for what is going to be affected during construction. So it's likely that, so right now, I don't have existing conditions here, but right now the closure will probably require, there's some play equipment here that's going to require the closure during construction. But what will definitely be affected and excavated is there's a swing up here on the top side of the playground. This part of the actual aqueduct, they're going to need to excavate around it and close this fence area. So we'll get a new swing area, which is the least of it. That's going to be a replacement of swing area. But what the great parts of it is, so We've been working with a skate park designer, a consultant, to reconstruct this area. So right now, this is all just this area from here up is a large kind of unused horseshoe area. This area is just asphalt, basically some old courts, basketball courts, basic stuff. But this whole area is going to be a brand new state-of-the-art skate area. We're excited. We've heard a lot of people wanting to skate in the area, wanting skateboarding, wanting action sports. The proposed improvements reconfigure the existing sports court area of the playground to support a broader range of recreational uses, including basketball. So this is a full basketball court. This is what we call a half key. And then over here, there's handball here right now. We're going to keep 3 of the handball courts here, and this is the same wall, so people can still play handball on this side. On this side is going to be a pickleball court. There's going to be adult fitness right here. This is a pickleball, what we call a pickleball wall. This is helping like training pickleball. You could bounce the pickleball off of that. Some of the elements on the adult fitness are not figured out yet. We're still in the middle of design for that elements, but there's going to be quite a lot of skate ability up here. Skateboarding, pickleball, fitness. There's an informal gathering space kind of in here. There's going to be a fence that's going to be separating the skateboard from the playground or from the basketball area. Yes. I'll answer just one more question. Let me just complete. I'll be in just one more second. So I can orient. I know it's tough to orient without a map. So this area, I know I don't have a kind of a compass in front of me, but this area would be. So this is. Let me get a better map so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Actually, let me just look at my phone so I can get a better idea of what we're talking about here. I've been looking at this schematic all day. I just want to give you guys a good kind of idea where this is. So down here, 65th Street, up here, 64th Street, and this is going to be 3rd Avenue on this side. So if you can imagine, you get back onto the Belt Parkway right here, and you kind of go over there. So this is literally built on underneath part of the Belt Parkway right there. That help? Of course, yeah. I know it's sometimes I look at these maps and I'm like, I hope everyone knows what I'm talking about, but that's where it is. So 64th Street, 63rd Street, 3rd Avenue. Cool. And then it's going to address a lot of the circulation issues. A lot of the path like way is a lot cleaner to get to this area right now. It's a little bit compressed. We're going to be introducing a lot of horticultural elements right here, new trees. Let's see here. And a big part of it is that stormwater management requirements associated with the viaduct rehabilitation. So that's basically the project. We are very, very excited about it. Again, it's something that we've been, we understand it's bittersweet because we do have to close partially the playground for a longer period of time than is ideal. But comes out of it, we rarely get this level of treatment for a kind of something that's so bittersweet. So we're very excited by this project. Yeah, so that's basics. I will open up for questions if you'd like that. Yeah. Sure. Of course. Hi.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming and thanks for the presentations.
Of course.
Okay, we'll start with way back when we had a problem with the gentleman sitting in the playgrounds gambling.
Which playground?
Are we still having that issue? Has that come up at all?
Every playground. Prolific gambler. I see. Okay. I understand. Rainbow Playground. Rainbow Playground. That is true. Okay. Yep.
It has?
Rainbow Playground. I knew about that. Yeah. No.
In order for, and unfortunately, I forget the name of the park on 6th Avenue and what is that, within the 50 streets, the playground?
Probably Rainbow. Yeah. Yeah.
Because of that issue, the benches were designed and built low. So just the children could.
Sure.
Will that be done in any of the parks that you have shown us?
So I would say we don't have sure. So we have that's a great question. You know, I understand, you know, so I would say we don't typically have benches that are like shorter. I mean, we have play tables that are for young children at Rainbow. From what I recall at Rainbow Playground,
The play table.
we did remove a good amount of the play tables at Rainbow Playground, but we have a standard for benches that are open to all. You know, it's what we typically use is like a 1939 park like bench. It's from the World's Fair park bench. That is pretty standard in a lot of parks in Brooklyn. This park in particular, if we go back to John Allen Payne real quick. This one is going to have 1964 park benches. They're benches and they're the same height, so they're not going to be for children or adults in particular. I would say the biggest deterrent for something like that is a game table. I don't believe there's going to be game tables here, but I would say that's more of an enforcement issue than it is a. I understand, and that is not an easy answer because we don't have a lot of funding for enforcement. But I would say we're not going to primarily lead design off of trying to deter something that has, because we haven't heard of complaints at any other playgrounds, frankly, other than Rainbow for gambling. There was very prolific gambling. I understand, but we have to design for everybody, and I don't think we would just bring in lower benches in every park in the community board for that. So to answer your question, we're not catering to that in the same way.
I should have been more specific.
Sure. Yeah.
Not per se the benches themselves, but the tables.
Okay.
That have the benches.
Yeah, like game tables. Yeah, like they have like chess, checkers.
They designed and they built the tables low, and I'm assuming that alleviated the problem.
Yeah, we at that particular park there's a lot less game tables.
And enforcement, yes, there was absolute enforcement, but as the police leave, well, the enforcement is gone. So
And it's a tricky answer.
okay, all right. That's what with John Allen Payne. Will you reconstruct the the young children's area where the swings are first, and then reopen that section, or how would that work?
The everything that's highlighted here. Why don't you go to the next slide? Okay. So this whole area, see, that kind of looks like some kind of animal. This whole area will close all at once and be reconstructed all at once. So when they're done, when the state DOT is done with their work up top, this area they're going to be affecting the most. This area here will be closed intermittently to address, you know, so they can enter the site and stuff like that. But what will actually be accommodated in this construction and close all at once is this whole area. They won't be redoing this area first and then closing everything else. That's unfortunately not how that would work. Yeah.
Last but not least,
Sure, of course.
Greenwood.
Greenwood, yes.
Refresh my memory. Was there an issue where in the right there? Yes.
Handball?
The benches, were the benches to view, were they adjusted where they were not coming very close to where the playing would be?
So we don't typically have benches. There may be benches in here, but we don't put benches within handball areas.
Problem with them, but I'm just wondering if that issue was addressed or if it just was.
I'm not sure of the issue, but I can speak. Yeah, we can speak on a little bit more. But there are. I will point out where benches are. So there's benches. There's some park benches inside the basketball court. I'm not sure off the top of my head if there's benches in the handball court. We don't typically. There's not. All right. So Shaquem has been there recently. We don't really, because there's so much movement with handball and back and forth. We don't typically have things that we like to collide into, but with basketball, that's such a spectator sport that there are a couple of benches here. But hopefully that answers your question. But there's benches in that area. Yeah.
All right, now for history lesson.
Okay, let's hear it.
That was my great uncle Mike's house
Where? Which one?
back in the day, right there.
Right here?
Yes.
There's some nice houses there. I wish I could afford a house on this block. In fact, I drive by it and I'm like, these are some nice houses.
Before the prospect was
It's Terrace.
even
That's
thought up,
yeah.
that was my
Well,
great
no,
uncle's house.
well, it's still Community Board 7. I could say that, but there's some nice houses up there. There's a good pizza place right here. Actually, I forget what it's called, but I live in 14. I won't. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's nothing's impossible. We could look into it for sure, but right now it will stay Greenwood. That's a very Henry Stern name, but I'll go into that why that is some other time.
Again, I thank you because
Of course.
this is fabulous.
Great.
And it's just heartwarming to see that back in the day, my work didn't go for naught.
No, of course not.
Chair of the committee.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you, Miss. And that's great. It's great to hear you were able to take a trip down memory lane a little bit. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, we're here to talk about any of the projects, but this is the time for, about John Allen Payne. We're very excited about that project too. So
We have questions.
Sure,
from
of
the
course.
board members online. Pat, if you can unmute yourself so you can ask your question, and then we'll get back to the audience.
You got it.
Hold on one second. Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. My question of always, when you say all abilities, what exactly are you doing for all abilities? And is it with all the parks?
Sure. So we have when we are designing pretty much any new building, any new playground, we have very strict ADA guidelines that we have to abide by. We have a variety of equipment that is for all abilities. It can be sensory equipment. It could be the ability for a wheelchair to get access to, like at Rainbow Playground is a great example, a wheelchair to get access to certain elements of the play equipment. So it's a variety of things. We are, we prioritize that very, very much, and it's like quite a lot of definitions of what all abilities could mean. Obviously, there's sensory equipment, is more engaging. There's areas that can be a little less engaging to be over stimulating. So it's quite a broad definition that we have. We have a coordinator on staff that helps with these as well. So if there's anything specific that you were looking for about what that could mean.
Oh, yes, I do have a specific question.
Sure, of course.
Wheelchairs. My granddaughter, cerebral palsy, she wants to go to the park. What do you have for her? Is there a swing? What do you have?
So we do have, in the past, we've used swings that a wheelchair can lock into. Unfortunately, that has created a safety concern sometimes that kids that may not be using it appropriately have caused, they get on it and there's one where you can actually wheel into it. I can give you a spec and I can send to the community board of an actual swing that we use that is for, it's more of an accessible thing. I don't have pictures on them right now, but we certainly do have swings that are ADA swings. That's what we use in it, and it is to great success. And frankly, it's installed in most, if not all, new playgrounds, and will be installed in these the playgrounds up and down 3rd Avenue. If they have a swing set, they're likely to have an ADA swing attached. And I don't have a picture on me right now, but I could send it to the community board.
Yeah, if you could, I really would appreciate it. And if you can certainly confirm that all of them are going to have that, I would appreciate it.
Sure. I'll look into the specs for each swing set. I can't say that every playground we're reconstructing has swing sets because some of them are catered a little bit more to an older age demographic, namely like something like Demick that is next to a high school. But playgrounds are, usually what we have.
But then again, and excuse me for cutting you off,
that's okay.
You have teenagers that are in wheelchairs and may want to swing. So I'm not just thinking about my 6-year-old. I'm thinking about everyone who's in a wheelchair, or just
totally
maybe
agree.
broke a leg, and just needs
We totally get it, and I agree. If every playground, I mean, I love swings, and I'm in my 30s, so I totally agree with that. We try to fit all the elements we can in a playground. Sometimes it is a sizing thing, and
right.
Because a swing set does take up quite a footprint, we try to fit everything to the input that we get from a meeting. Same like at, again, just using an example, Demick, it did the school, who's a major stakeholder in that because it's called a jointly operated playground. They did. And why don't you go back to Demick? Yep. So this is actually good. This is a good signifier of what I'm talking about. So in an ideal world, and if the space accommodates it, we have 3 different age groups for a playground. So this is what we call tots. So that's really like toddlers. Then we have
Right.
2 to 5 equipment. And then this is 5 to 12 equipment. So this is play equipment. This is not swing sets though. So we're doing what we
Right.
can to fit what we can, because there is a pretty sharp, right here is there's a grade change right here. And this is higher up than everything else. So these are very, I will say the ones up and down Third Avenue are very unique in the sense of the way they're built. And we're trying to accommodate and fit all the input that we have. So Demick, it does not look like we have swings here, but if you go over to Gonzalo Placencia, if you want to go back one, or not Gonzalo, Pena Herrera, we do have swings. And I will get you the specs on what specifically what swings are there. I'm pretty sure we have an ADA one.
I appreciate it. Thank
Of
you very
course.
much.
Absolutely.
Next, John DeLuper, if you could please unmute yourself.
Sure. Thank you. So I want to go into the questions on John Allen Payne specifically.
Sure.
So following up on what Joan mentioned, did I hear you right that the whole playground will close for 2 years, both the top part with the play equipment and the bottom part with the courts and all that project? But you also are going to have intermittent closures of the other areas before that? Did I hear that right?
Sure. So I'll specify. So sorry, there was a lot of information that I had to go through. So I'll specify specifically what we believe to be happening. So this isn't the best image because it's not the current conditions of the future, but there is a younger children play equipment area over here. There's still quite a lot of playground over here. In fact, there's a large play equipment over here. There's a bathroom down here. There's a sitting area over here closer to 3rd Avenue. So what the plan is, again, we're still working out with state DOT. They do, as you can imagine, this is major construction work and we are at the whim of an agency like state DOT, who does have to do major infrastructure work. So they have to do what looks like, quite a few years of construction that's going to be starting likely next year. The plan is to not have a total of 2-year closure for the park, for that area of the playground. There's areas of the playground that will remain open throughout the entirety of construction, namely the large play equipment area over here, the bathroom over here, there's sitting area over here, this chunk of the swings, and then part of the play equipment. This area will stay closed the whole time because it has to get excavated because of this piece of the aqueduct right here. But this area here is going to have some intermittent closures that won't exceed 2 years. Again, a lot of this is still being figured out because there's so many elements that they're working on. But yes, there will be, and I just want to be clear, there will be closure of a chunk of the playground for probably no exceeding in 2 years, but it will be a good amount of time. This construction is going to take a little while because of the massive amount of work that they have to do. But this area will be closed, during that time. So play equipment, we need play equipment to be open. I'm from the operational office. Shaquem is from the operational office. We really don't like it when play equipment is closed. That's bad for us because it affects our ratings. It affects our optics with the local government and all these different things. So we've been able to succeed in keeping a majority of the playground open during this time, but there's stuff that we just couldn't control. And we're still figuring out some of the details in terms of the actual timing. But I will be clear, there will be a chunk of the play equipment that will be closed off intermittently, as well as this swing set area. I believe there's swing sets that are going to be installed down here, or there's current swing sets down here, so there'll still be swing sets. Does that
All
help
right.
answer the
So
question?
that does help answer my question. My next question is kind of a follow-up on that. And do you have any kind of process to ensure that state DOT stays on target and that they don't just close the park? And I ask because their record over there is not so good. And for instance, right now, there's a bus stop right in front of there. And for the last year, the bus stop has been entirely blocked on both sides because of, from what I hear from the people who live there, the local precincts decided to not ticket any of the cars because the Bay Ridge Towers, is also above some of that infrastructure, and they've decided to allow people to park in the bus stops while at the same time people are in like wheelchairs and stuff and they can't get onto the bus. But there's the timeline for when the parking lot there will reopen is very nebulous because of whatever the state work is. And speaking of state work, I also have concerns because in the past they've randomly closed John Allen Payne when there's been issues with like stuff from the highway coming down. So we need to be able to hear some kind of commitment from them to honor this keeping the partial openings, because I really don't have a lot of faith based on what they've done before. And then I'm going to add one other question related to that, and that's with you talked about replacing some of the worn out stuff. Will there also be any effort to replace worn out stuff in the children's play area? Like I know some of the equipment there has broken since it's been installed, and there's also issues with like the trees. You talked about tree replacement. Some of the trees outside the park, have been hit by cars. And then now there's empty tree beds surrounding the playground. Is any of that work going to be included in this as well?
Sure. So what I'll do is I'm going to kick it over to Michael from State DOT. Michael, are you on and you're able to, Natasha, you take your time. I know this is a hybrid meetings. Just give us just 1 minute. But Michael, are you on the call and are you able to unmute and speak in this call? You might just give us a second to figure out the tech stuff. And so Michael's from State DOT. He'll be able to comment on a little bit about the closure plan that he's worked out for parks. I'll talk about everything else outside of the zone of construction once Michael's able to chime in.
Sure. Yeah. Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. This is Michael Javickas from State DOT. Yes. Oh, great. Yes, we're very laser focused in this contract to stated the commitment of not closing this playground or any parts of this playground for more than 2 years. We were very confident it'll be less than 2 years total. The nature of this contract will be so that we can actually specify to the contractor how long they're allowed to work in certain areas. So we have a very tight control over this type of contract than we've had in the past. So we're very keen to make sure that the closures don't get out of hand, and we understand and recognize that it's important that that we keep the contractor to the promises and the commitments we're going to make in the contract itself that's going to be let out there. So I think in the past, many of our projects didn't have that kind of commitment, nor do they have any kind of mitigation or give back to the communities and Parks Department. Many times, restorations would be sort of in kind and sort of an afterthought. But now this project, we're putting the mitigation forward and first and early on, and Parks Department and the community have been excellent partners in that. And I think we've found some really proactive solutions here, and making sure that the contractor on this project will not be allowed to close this park more than what is needed, and not more than 2 years total, and that we're going to keep open all parts of the playground that can be kept open safely, because we are committed to keeping the public safe first and foremost while work is going on. So that's the approach that State DOT is taking in partnership with Parks Department in this community for this project.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Hopefully that helped answer that segment. I'm happy to answer kind of the remaining part of that question as well. Do you have anything to for Michael though?
Okay. Actually, can I ask one final follow-up? My son actually uses that playground. He has some questions. He has a question about it.
I thought you were just gonna do the basketball court.
Yeah, we're gonna do the basketball court. It's gonna be awesome. It's actually, I'll show you. Wait, what am I talking about? You guys can't even see my pointer on the internet, but well, you see the big yellow. That's going to be what's called sport coat, or that it's like the special paint that we use for. It has to do with like grip and stuff like that. It's gonna be really cool. We're we're very excited about that part of it. But yeah, the basketball court right now, it's barely a basketball court there. It's pretty sad. But we're gonna get a full court basketball. I'm using this like you can see, but you get there's gonna be a full court basketball court, half key on the top there. So it's gonna be pretty great once it's done. It's just gonna take a little while.
Thank you.
Of course, and just to clarify too, and as Michael said, rarely do we get this kind of mitigation. A lot of times, the Parks Department, we are our biggest fans, so to speak. I mean, I am very much a stickler about closure for external parties, like if it's neighboring houses, if it's different agencies that have to close our park. I'm very adamant about fighting for parks. I've always have been, just because it can seem like an afterthought for when another entity is closing a park, and we're lucky that State DOT is so caring about this park, because sometimes other entities come in and they're like, we have to do this work. Everything outside of the work is an afterthought, but that is just not the situation here. We're very strict about what closure is happening. Again, as Michael said, we're getting an incredible amount of mitigation, incredible amount of value out of this, but we've been very strict about limiting the closure, because my job depends on it. We get rated on closures, and just optically with the local government, if there's just too much closure, people get upset. Your son, the children, they can't use the playground. What's the point of a playground that's out of use? So we do what we can to navigate these waters, as some of it is out of our control, but we've been very adamant about minimizing closure and trying to offer as much play value out of what is left during that closure. And then once it's all done, getting this, we've been able to get this incredible project out of it, which we're very excited. And again, it's very rare to get such a cool design out of this. So we're very, very excited. To answer your question about the rest of the park, as I was saying before, Parks does not have our own capital budget. So we were lucky to get this funding because State DOT has to mitigate the situation in the way that they're affecting the property. It's rare that we get this, but unfortunately, partially because their work does not affect the rest of the play equipment, and mostly that playground, I know there's some elements of it that are we could fix it up, but it's pretty new in the state of 2018 is quite new in terms of a playground. It may not feel it sometimes, but we have to prioritize other sites when we do get funding. But yeah, so unfortunately, none of the play equipment will be like fully redone if it's not affected by this work. And same goes for the trees. If there's trees that are, dying or anything like that, we'd certainly like to know about that. But there will be no like added trees outside of the construction zone because we just don't have additional funding for it. If you guys, you're fully able to campaign for new funding for the play equipment area, that would have to come through the local elected officials or the mayoral or anything like that. But it's not something Parks is going to be doing without substantial capital funding.
Hi, good evening, and thank you to everyone who first showed up, and particularly the ones who showed up with good information. So I'm going to start with questions, and I'm just going to tell you all and you pick them at a time. You've mentioned the road above John Allen Payne, both calling it an aqueduct and a viaduct. Is there water traveling?
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
I just because that's
no. It's just a term for it's a state DOT term. I mean, Michael, would you be able to clarify? I'm a Parks guy. Would you be able to clarify the naming of that a little bit more?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, this is Michael Javickas from State DOT. That's correct. Viaduct, meaning it's an overhead highway. Yeah, no water features or any kind of primary drinking water supply meant to be.
I'm thirsty right now, so maybe I just said it.
Any water.
No water. We don't want any water up there.
Okay, so then continuing, back to the Peña Herrera playground. I saw that in your presentation, it says Pena, which was at the very beginning, conversations we had in the community because the family name is Peña. Would that be, when it comes to any signage in the park, that whoever is in charge of signage, whatever that may be, to keep that in mind?
I apologize. That's a miss. But
that
Yeah, this
you
is
know,
just a typo on my end, but
spending,
we
yeah,
we would never misspell anything.
right, like a
that.
plaque or something like
Yeah,
that.
no,
Okay.
no, we would,
Okay.
I understand how that I'm actually embarrassed about that. I didn't.
No, no,
didn't
no,
notice
it's
that,
okay.
but
It happens. It
But
happens.
yeah, that
No,
that
okay.
100% would have
No,
the
no.
correct spelling.
The Greenwood Playground, I like the lack, or maybe because it's all gray, of tree canopy. Um, is that because it's gray that there doesn't seem to be a great presence of trees?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. So basically, this was a unique project in the sense of pickleball is hugely popular right now. We're trying to keep up with the massive amount of desire for pickleball. So this project, we're very appreciative of Councilmember Hanif's funding for it. But as you could see, and again, not scoffing at $1 million, I would love $1 million, but in terms of an infrastructure project, it's on the lower end. And that's, again, not an insult or anything like that. But I say that because we were able to do a lot of more infrastructure project, but not a ton of like, trees or anything like that. That would have to involve a lot more infrastructure work, like making new tree beds and stuff like that. This whole area, I mean, I'll put it. It's hard to see because this is kind of a weird schematic. So, why don't you go to like a different slide or something like that? So this is a great example. So this one is a straight up a landscape architecture schematic. You can kind of see a lot of this one was a little bit more developed because you could see the trees. And you could actually see like this is kind of a faded. It's like a picture that we get from like Google. But once you go back to Greenwood, there's actually trees. It's just not as highlighted. So there are trees. These are pre-existing though. So there are trees up in here, but it's just I'm not sure why the designer made it like this, but there are trees. It's just not that installed. This is a pretty small footprint for a capital project.
So
So
given climate crisis as hot as
yeah,
summers,
and we're the biggest fans of trees. If
Okay.
we can install trees, it helps like everybody. So yeah, if we can, we will. Yeah.
And lastly, nothing to do with any person. And later you can respond to the board and then
Sure,
it'll
sure,
get
sure.
out. Any scoping in and not to distant future for Sunset Park, the park itself, for repairs that have been on a back order, and where things break down when you have things that are older than the newer things that were repaired that are
Yeah.
already breaking down.
Yeah.
In the playground itself, huge
Yeah.
issues in the children's tripping hazards and all that, as well as in the promenades and all that. So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
gonna beg you, please, whatever we need to do here to support
Sure.
whatever,
Yeah, you answered your own question a little bit, and I think sometimes it's tough with, we are a large agency in terms of, man force and all these different things and property owner, we're the biggest property owner. But in terms of our budget, I mean, it's not a stretch of the imagination to say we have a limited budget to cover all we need to cover, and a big part of that is capital budget. So we literally don't have our own capital budget. So we do rely upon people like you to then advocate to the council member or whoever, to whoever the mayoral to get these areas. So that's why sometimes it's like we make our own list of needs that are like, this park hasn't been funded in 50 years, but then, this park has 20 years and it's getting new funding. We make our lists and we advocate to community boards, to the council members. We meet with council members twice a year to discuss the needs of the parks in the area. Like, this park is getting really old, it's dangerous and stuff like that. But it's up to the local elected officials to fund anything. We have no choice of what's funded. And I know that's preaching to the choir, but we agree. There's areas of Sunset Park that it's like, why does that get funding? It's not getting funded. And it needs, infrastructurally, Sunset Park needs a lot of funding for that kind of thing. And it's sometimes it's easier to fund a playground, we're so appreciative of it for the funding. But yeah, so I agree with you. We could use the money all we can, but it's tough. Okay. Yes, I like that saying. I know squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think that's the same sentiment there. So, but yeah, we agree. The more you can to say to the elected officials, and again, I'm not trying to pass the buck to them, but if we had our own capital budget, it would be a different story. So but again, we're so appreciative for the Third Avenue funding is incredible. Those parks are going to be awesome. It's long needed, and everything that's happening in CB3 or CB7 is going to be great. So, thank you again. And if you guys have any questions about John Allen Payne please let us know.
One last question.
Yeah, of course. What's up, dude?
For John Allen Payne, is the skate park going to have actual skate features?
Oh, yeah.
Similar to Parks Department skate parks?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've worked with his name's Steve Rodriguez. He's a skateboarding consultant, basically. And I'm not by no means a skate expert, but yes, it will be state of the art. We're using the same, like, there's consultants that we've used simultaneously for other skate areas in the park. So it's not like it's going to be, this is like DOT skate park. It's super weird and everything like that. We've personally approved all of the elements. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really a cool area. Some of the words that I can tell you, there's going to be sloped rails. There's going to be hobs. There's going to be flat rails. There's going to be ledges. I don't necessarily know what all of that means. I used to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater back in the day, so I know a little bit of it, but it's going to be awesome. Steve Rodriguez is a fantastic consultant. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He works heavily with the skate community. And personally, if Commissioner Marr was here, we have the most skate parks in Brooklyn out of all the boroughs. We take it as a point of pride. We are very close to the skate community. We advocate for them. They're a fantastic group of people that are very passionate about their sport, and we want to help that out. They help themselves. They help the park. So we're very excited about it, but this is going to be awesome. It's a very unique design, which is part of the coolness of this. And we think it's going to be awesome. So I can definitely get, I'm part of it, as I don't know as much as Steve would and stuff like that, but I can definitely get you more information about the elements and what are going to be installed, because it's going to be very cool and stuff like that. And in terms of maintenance, we've, prioritized what needs to happen in this park and things like that. Make sure that it's going to be alive and well for a long, long time. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. We're very happy you guys like it. It's going to be a little bittersweet. We understand, but this is New York. Sometimes a lot of this stuff is aging, and we have to work around the challenges that we have. So we're very excited to get this. Again, it's very rare to get this kind of value out of something like that. So thank you. If you have any questions, just please let us know. Okay, cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. So moving on to the next item on our agenda, we have a presentation from Sarah Evans from Greenwood about their Living Collections program. Sarah. You want to sit or stand? Okay. A lot of sitting. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Hi, everyone.
Ooh.
My name is Sarah Evans. I am the director of the Living Collection and curator at Greenwood Cemetery. I've been at the cemetery for about a decade now, and my job encompasses everything to do with the trees and the meadows and the gardens. But today we're going to talk about the trees, and specifically a grant that we got to fund a full comprehensive tree inventory funded by the DEC under their urban and community forestry grant. It was completed in 2024, so we're a little past next. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. Cool. All right, I'm sure you all know, but just as a brief overview to orient where Greenwood is today. So we are still an active cemetery 185 years later from our founding. We currently have over 200 public programs a year, which serves upwards of 15,000 people a year. We were designated a National Historic Landmark in 2006. which covers about 478 acres of Community Board 7's district. And our tree collection is accredited internationally by Morris Arboretum's ArbNet accreditation program, and we are a level 3. So we have been designated that level. 1, for the amount of species and genus that we represent. We also have a dedicated education program for our arboretum, and we have a director of the living collections, that's me, staff to oversee it. So currently our number of trees right now stands at 8,235, and all of them you can find on a digital map online to be able to identify and locate in the cemetery using our tree finder. All right, you can go to the next slide. All right, so real quick, we did do a tree inventory in 2006, and then in 2016, which was my first year working at Greenwood, and then in 2024. Normally the standard is an inventory every 5 to 7 years. It's really important. The inventory not only includes the mapping of the trees and the identification of the trees, but the arborist is also doing a level 1 inspection. So they're on the ground and they're circling the tree, looking for defects, assessing the health of the tree, the whole 9 yards. So we can get a comprehensive overview sort of to prioritize resources where they need them. So what trees might need to be removed, what trees need priority work, and where we should be planting more trees. So as you can see, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of where can we stay on that one? Or is it just, okay. We've been really focusing on diversifying our tree collection, especially since myself and my supervisor came on in 2016. And I just wanted to point out a couple things. So diversity definitely makes us more resilient to risks that are like we're experiencing right now and are going to be coming down the line. So back in 2016, you can see, this is a better one. Oh wait, that's off. Okay, no worries. All right, the closed captions are covering it. So you're just gonna have to trust me. No, it's okay. No, it's all right. So in 2006 and 2016, you can see that Acer, so maples, represented in total 15 to 20% of the collection. And at the time, it was like 95% of our maples were Norway maple. We've since changed that. We've really diversified. We've really been selecting native maples. But something that I'm really stoked on, and everyone should be too, is you can see that our oak percentage of the collection has really increased. It's increased by 3%. So oaks are a keystone species for a lot of wildlife in our region. And we have been selecting, well, I'll talk about this more actually. I have slides later. But anyway, we're really stoked on this. Next slide. All right, just to show you sort of how the age classification of our collection has changed over the years. All right, so again, the closed captioning is obscuring it, but this is our collection of young trees. So in 2006, these are our established trees. So our trees between like 7 inches and 24 inches DBH. And then our mature trees, those are our large honkers that are like over 100 years in age. So the lime green bars are showing you that our collection in 2006 was really skewing old. That's not really great. It means that like the future collection of Greenwood's trees might just be thinner and the canopy is probably gonna just be shrinking. Go to the next slide. Awesome. So in 2012, Greenwood also experienced Superstorm Sandy, and we lost over 300 trees, most of them mature trees. And you can kind of see how that was reflected in 2016. So when we came on, we had, I think the New York Restoration Project had planted like 300, 500 trees at Greenwood to help restore canopy that was lost in Superstorm Sandy. But even then, we're still kind of skewing in that same trend where the total collection is skewing too old, and we really wanted to plant a lot of trees. So if you go to the next slide. So in 2024, what have we done? We have planted, honestly, over 2,600 trees since 2017. And you can see the distribution of our tree ages. looks like we have a more robust future canopy in store. And we're only continue planting. We also got another grant from DEC under the same urban and community forestry grant program to plant 1,500 trees over the next 3 years, which is in process. But I'm not here to talk about that today. Okay. But more trees are coming. And just to give you a little, quick snapshot of what Greenwood's tree collection is doing, what ecosystem services they are providing us. The U.S. Forestry Service has a really cool application called iTree Eco that uses a lot of different predictive models to do this. I don't want to go into the weeds about it, but all in all, the tree collection sequesters 78 tons of CO2 each year. You can go to the next one. Great. This is probably the most impressive statistic to me in what the trees do, in that they remove like over 7,500 pounds of particulate matter in the air. You can go to the next one. And then they are doing some stormwater mitigation. There you go. So about 1.5 million gallons of stormwater runoff is avoided because of these trees. We also are doing a lot of stormwater management work. That is also state funded, but that's a different presentation. But we are building an infrastructure for that too. All right, you can go to the next slide. All right, yeah, so real quick, this is just a slide. It's one of my favorite photos to show because there's about 250 trees in there. We stage them in our catacombs because the catacombs stay around 50 to 55 degrees, especially on warm, sunny days. And we're primarily planting bare root trees. One, they're really light, but they also, we have seen, have a greater chance of establishment, and they don't have any soil on their root ball. So, our horticulturists and arborists can pick them up, carry them, and plant them. And also, staging-wise, you can just really fit a lot in a tiny space. Next slide. And because we have lost so much canopy, one of the goals of the tree planting program is to increase our canopy cover to 35%. So that's 35% of our 478 acres should be shaded. And one of the ways that we're trying to get there faster and also make our water operations more efficient is we're planting trees closer together. Greenwood historically, the really classic like pointed planting system where you just have a specimen tree here and one here. No, we're trying to utilize more of the grove structure, and this photo isn't really doing it justice, but there's like about 15 trees just all in this little area. All right. Go next one. No, I know, I'm sorry. One more up above the, yeah. All right. So yeah, something that the tree inventory has also given us a good overview of are species that, number one, are doing really well at Greenwood currently and we have a good idea that projected into the future they're gonna be fine. Oh, sorry, it's the one just before this one. It's the one with myself, like I'm it's a selfie of me and a little pine tree, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so just this is also a very funny photo of two of my favorite tree species that we've helped to assist the southern migration of. So we have a Pinus palustris and a water oak, a Quercus nigra, on the right. So in terms of expanding our diversity, we're also looking and really serious about introducing species that have evolved to, on the southeast coastal area of the United States, because we are just experiencing more hurricanes right now and more heat. All right. And that Pinus palustris, I took that 4 years ago and it was like right here. It's now like 15 feet tall. I love that tree. Yeah, all right. And then so tree preservation of our mature trees, right? The tree inventory helped to give us a lot of assessment and prioritize our attention and our resources. And a lot of our older trees, we are doing stuff like retrenchment pruning, preservation pruning. We are not necessarily so focused on aesthetic anymore because we are really concerned about conserving canopy. So this is one of my favorite silver maples that needs a lot of work, but because it's not necessarily posing a hazard, we're just shrinking its canopy and allowing it to stand a little longer. And you can go down. Okay. Well, the next photo, you're going to see one of my favorite trees. Here we go. In the cemetery. It is located along 5th Avenue and 35th Street. This is a willow oak, and it's my favorite. And we did also get grant funding to help restore and remediate the root zones of these really large trees. It's just been decades of them surrounded by turf and that turf treated as turf. And so the soil has a lot of compaction and everything else. And yeah, pretty stoked on that. Just trying to show you some of the care and love we're putting into the collection. No, it's okay, to preserve these old trees. And then, yeah, the next slide is just the tree finder, which I mentioned in the beginning, which you guys can access. Search by species, go and find a tree to fall in love with. And then I think the next slide is, haha. Yeah. So the Weir greenhouse that is located on the corner of 25th Street and 5th Avenue, Greenwood purchased about 18 years ago, 20 years ago. And it's been a long process, but it is opening to the public on April 18th. Yeah. And this is going to be our grand opening. Everyone, again, oh, good. You can see it. Keep your eyes on our calendar on our website. Also, if you're on the gram, you can follow us at Historic Greenwood, and we're going to put updates on there too. You guys are all welcome. We're really excited for it to be open. All right, and that's it for me. Open to questions. All right, the question was, what is inside the greenhouse? And inside the greenhouse is going to just be art installations, yeah, everything else. So it's the Weir greenhouse. It was fully restored. And then we constructed and built a 2-story like visitor center that sort of wraps around it. Yeah. Yeah.
Pat, if you can, you should be able to unmute yourself now. Hold on, Pat, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is more a question of curiosity. The catacombs where you're storing the trees, is it empty? Because I saw some names.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the catacombs are not empty. You actually saw just like the hallway that goes down, and then the little rooms that offshoot the hallway are the crypts.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. Don't
All right,
worry.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
do it. Yeah, we have a director of restoration, and we're very intentional and clean with it. So, is that it? For questions? All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, come visit Greenwood. We're open every single day, sunrise to sunset. Well, not right now. Yeah. In like the next few days, we're gonna be that way.
You guys can do Yep.
Guys so much. That was everything we have on our agenda. I wanted to flag that we have our next meeting on March 25th. This is just a makeup meeting for the February 23rd meeting that we missed. We were snowed out. At that meeting, we will have a presentation from NYC Parks again on the neighborhood tree planting program. So if you're interested, I welcome you to come join that one. Again, it's March 25th. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for coming. Thank you.